Former Vikings defensive tackle, 2003 to 2013. Kevin Williams, of course, 2021 inductee into the Vikings Ring of Honor. Kevin, just your initial thoughts on what we just watched. Obviously, prime time for a J.J. McCarthy debut. First three quarters, meh, but then that fourth quarter, he really shined.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Man, what a game of of two halves. Well, I ain't gonna even say two halves for one quarter. I thought the Bears were being way more physical than we were. I thought they played the preseason, so I felt like they were a lot more prepared maybe than we were, and defense couldn't tackle at all. The first half seemed like we missed 5 or 6 sacks on Caleb, and the whole drive was all Caleb, and nothing could get going on offense. But defense hung in there, and they finally got something going, and offense was able to punch through there at the end.
Yeah, what goes through the head of a defensive player? Obviously, you have all those opportunities to get sacks, and you don't get them in that first half. And third quarter until that last touchdown drive, I think the Bears just couldn't move the ball. It was punt after punt after punt. Just how do you stay engaged as a defense to be able to know that your offense needs you to get the ball back because of you?
You just got to keep swinging. I've been in a bunch of those games personally where you're just stopping them. You hoping the glass will finally break the way the offense did tonight, and got going the fourth quarter. I mean, that's what you hope you see all season. That type of offense that they displayed in the fourth quarter. But the defense really got going after some missed plays on the quarterback early in the game, and it really allowed the offense a chance to stay around and other than the pick six, adding more points. I thought they did pretty well of controlling the offense of the Bears.
Yeah, I agree. If you're just joining us, former Vikings defensive tackle Kevin Williams, Ring of Honor member for the Vikings. Kevin, just go back to your debut. Obviously, did it take you a little bit to get going? Obviously, McCarthy looked a little flustered in the first three quarters until he got settled in the fourth. But in your debut, did it take you a little bit to get going?
My first real game was in Lambeau Field, so that's one of the most historic places in the NFL. So it was. I can remember going into halftime, and I was completely exhausted. I'm like, we got to play another half. I couldn't believe how fast and how exciting and just so much energy you burned throughout the first half, just trying to stay in the game and make plays. But after that, I think it kind of got settled down, and I ended up having a good rookie year.
Yeah,
Um, for him, though, I think that was a huge, huge stage. That's everybody loves to play on Monday night when you're in the NFL because all your peers are watching. So for him being his first career start, that was a tremendous stage for him to go out and he didn't look so good early, but I mean he finished the game strong, and I think that's a lot to do with KOC and his play calling and that defense just hanging around and keeping the offense within distance and giving them a chance.
yeah. Going to your career, did you have a game where you had a bunch of family members close to home and all that pressure of everybody's there to kind of watch you? Like, can you put yourself in his shoes at all in that situation?
I'm from Arkansas, so pretty much when we hit Kansas City or any game in Texas or Georgia or Tennessee, that kind of was my home game. So always a lot of family would come and try to check it out, but I kind of didn't pay attention to the noise. My family knew if they came to the game, it was to watch the game. It wasn't to hang out with me. I mean, I was totally focused on business.
Yeah, absolutely. For McCarthy, having a win like this, how does that kind of mentally help him going forward? Obviously, you can almost forget the first three quarters. Obviously, you want to learn from it, but to be able to get the win, I think, and he said in his post game comments, what are you going to remember most? He said to get the win. So, does help have this? How does that kind of help him moving forward?
I think you said it there. I mean, at the end of the day, you want the win. I mean, you might can play bad and you still get the win. That's the ultimate goal. But I mean, it just shows you where you are and kind of a measuring stick for you to start the season being your first start. And you want to play those other three quarters kind of how you got going in the fourth quarter. And I think the coaching staff and Kevin O'Connell and all those guys will get him in the right situations and like you said, like you saw the fourth quarter, he leaned on the run game. That opened up a lot more lot more time and action for those receivers to get downfield, and we know that the Vikings like to throw that ball deep down the field.
Yeah, finding parallels between your career and what the current team is dealing with. For you, you had Christian Ponder when he was a rookie. Just as a guy on the defense, knowing that you have a rookie quarterback on the other end, how does that kind of impact your game style and what's going on in your head? Like, do you feel like you have more of a responsibility to kind of dominate on the defensive front, or?
Just the defense, you just want to try to take as much pressure as you can off the young guy. If he can end every drive with getting a kick, some type of kick, and no turnovers, that's good for us. I mean, whether it be a punt or a field goal or what have you, or extra point, but you don't want to throw it solely on his hands and put him in tough situations and giving up a lot of points. So if you can keep the score low, not ask him to score a ton of points and just take care of the ball. That's always good for a rookie.
So obviously the Vikings, they get the win. They're 1-0. Next time it's back-to-back prime times. Now you got Atlanta coming to Minnesota. It'll be Sunday night football. Just what do you think it's going to be like? Now he's going to be at home and all that atmosphere at US Bank Stadium. You've seen a game in US Bank Stadium obviously when you got inducted. Just having that atmosphere, you think it's going to help him a little bit for a second career game?
Oh, definitely. I know the stadium's gonna be live. The snow gonna get to falling and the whiteout probably. I don't know if it's gonna be a whiteout, but it's always cool when they have the whiteout and you can see those people. You can see the fans waving the towels and it'll be big. It's the home opener, so. And plus, I think Jared will be in town getting his Hall of Fame ring and all those things. So it'll be a lot of extra added incentives for these guys to play hard and for the fans to be extremely loud in the U.S. Bank Stadium.
Yeah, back when you played, obviously it was a very dominant defensive front. You had you and Pat Williams. You had Brian Robinson on one side, and Jared Allen, recently inducted to the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame. So what was it like playing with Jared Allen?
It was kind of, you know, it was kind of one of those things where I knew if I pushed the pocket, I knew he was always coming around the edge. So I always tried to keep that quarterback at his drop point and not let him get through the middle. I was yelling at the TV here earlier because we kept letting the guy get out up the middle. And I'm like, I'm like, we got to have a better rush plan up front to keep losing contain and let Caleb get out of there. But it was always great to know he was going to be turning that corner and trying to do his calf celebration.
Yeah, I think everybody enjoyed seeing that on Sundays. Kevin, last question for you. Just obviously, I mentioned Atlanta's next Sunday Night Football. What's kind of your prediction for the rest of this Viking season with what you saw? Obviously, it's only 1 week, but with what you saw tonight, what do you think the Vikings? What's kind of the ceiling and maybe the floor for this team going forward?
Man, if they get going like they did in the fourth quarter, I mean, shoot, we looking at we looking at them running off some wins. I think they can. I think KLC has done a great job with whoever he's had at quarterback, whether it was Cousins or Darnold or any of the guys that replaced those guys in backup situations. I think he kind of helps them with the play calling. He does a great job with that. It's always great to watch them and like I said, if he gets going, I don't see him. I don't see them not winning more less than 11 games maybe. I think they can win at least 11 games at the least and hopefully get the division this year. I saw the Packers that that everybody's blowing smoke about the Packers. They shut Detroit out and Detroit will figure it out. I mean they've been pretty good under Campbell, but they didn't look so hot yesterday, and with with their coach being over there in Chicago,
Yeah.
that offense looked a little stagnant yesterday. But I think it'll come down to us and the Packers for the division when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think the Vikings and Packers, they might be playing week 18. It's either week 17 or 18. So it'd be kind of
Yeah.
nice to see if the division decided when one of those later weeks. But Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you staying up with us. Obviously, a huge and exciting Vikings win, mostly just the fourth quarter, but Vikings win 27-24 and improve to 1-0 on the year. Kevin, thanks so much for joining.
No problem. Appreciate it.